Quorum Radio, baby.
You're listening to Quorum Radio on WRMI 5850.
Quorum Radio, we're on with Bol Gai Deng, who wants to be president of South Sudan. He's from South Sudan, and he used to be a slave, an African slave. And he wrote the book, Legacy of an African Freedom Fighter, and other books too. His website is www.kushdemocraticmajority.org. Right?
Yep, that .org. That org.
Right. And so I want to talk to Bol, who has been in the United States about 20 years, right?
Correct.
Hey, tell me, how has the United States changed your life? Tell me about life in South Sudan, about for you, and what life was like, and then coming to America and how your life changed.
So life in South Sudan, it was very much in the village. I was born in the village. I didn't know the city. There was not something called city. I was actually very much grew up in the village. My lifestyle was very much taking care of animals, like cows, goats. I think that, we very much rely on the livestock, or that we rely on chickens. It was a very simple life, very much until when my village was attacked by Islamic militants, very much organized by the Khartoum. That's where I was able to I was kidnapped, and then find myself later that was a slave and put in captivity and sold and get beat up until I find my way out to refugee camp in Khartoum, where actually there was a Catholic charity, so-called Kamboni, which was very much organized. The young people adopted us, and then from there went to school, and then I ran away again in 1992. Osama bin Laden very much was welcome to be in Sudan. Osama bin Laden shut down all the refugees came and charities that were supporting us. So we run again to Egypt. I find myself in Egypt. In Egypt also I was introduced to United Nations program, and then they gave me asylum to come to the United States in 1999. So my life was very much a tough life. It was a hardship life. It was nothing at all. You have a young boy, 7 years old, all the way to my teenagers. I didn't see a mother or dad or relatives and managed by my own. It was not easy until I come to America. America changed my life forever.
What happened to your parents, Bol? What happened to your mother and father?
During this war, my mom was beat up until soon as she died later. My dad was actually wounded during the time of war. And then he died during the struggle that the war, the attackers come and find out. And then my dad was trying to stand up using the spear. A spear, of course, you cannot have a spear in your hand and face somebody with a gun. So my dad did not survive because it was using a spear against the Islamic militant. Actually get funded from Arab leagues. They get funded from Egypt, they get funded from Saudi Arabia, they get funded from United Emirates, they get funded from Iraq before Saddam Hussein actually lost power. They get supported from Gaddafi, Omar al-Gaddafi in Libya. So they have a great ammunition, a gun that they can fight the African indigenous that did not have protection at the time. So that's why my dad actually died of all those invasion and slavery.
But tell me, okay, so you were a little boy, 7 years old, 8 years old. You're a slave. So, tell me about a day in the life of a boy slave. What time do you get up?
Oh, well, you get up in the morning. Sometimes you sleep half day, not a lot. And then you got to work constantly. You work a lot. wherever they give you assignment. Before that, also you get beat up. It's not something that easy. You get beat up by anybody that have an issue with you. They can beat you up anytime, whether it was the wife of the master, whether it was the daughter of the master, or whether it was the son of the master. So that was the lifestyle that I was living.
Sure.
The life was
Sure.
hard to get beat up left and right. So
Well, who were they? Were they animists? Were they Christians? Were they Muslims? Who were the owners? Your owners?
they were pure Muslim. They are Muslim, and they also after the war was slave, they were actually very much was introduced to the Islam, so we can become a Muslim. So we can read the Quran in Arabic, which actually most of us do not know how to speak Arabic because we are not from that kind of culture. It was so hard to learn Arabic when you don't know the alphabet in Arabic, so it was not easy. So that's how the majority of these people, I would say 100%, who attack African, a lot of them, they are Muslim, who very much convert themselves to the Arab identity. You see them kind of like the light skin, but in the meantime, they actually call themselves Arabs. And they are the Muslim Arab who work with the Arab League. And the Arab League gives them support 100% to do that job for them. So somehow you can see these are the black converted to Islam who are doing the dirty work to the Arabs so they can kidnap the kid for the villages, because the black Muslim know how they can hunt African down from the village, because they have the bush where they can go and get people. When the people run away to hide themselves in the bush, they go and find them and get them from the bush and drag them out from the bush and sell them to the Arab masters, who actually they are friends. So yes, they were 100% Muslim, and they were enslaving African Christian, they're enslaving African who are non-Muslim and they are not even Christian. All of them, they have been enslaved and they have been tortured by these groups. And this group actually is worldwide organized by the government of North Sudan, out the Sudan today.
Yeah. So what did you eat? What was food every day for a slave?
You go almost 3 days without having food. You can go for a week without having food.
And nobody gives you anything? Don't they get? Why don't they? But don't they?
Oh, they don't
say,
give you food. No, they don't give you food. They can give you something that left over. You can find any food that left over. They can give it to you so you can eat it. Something left over, people actually don't want it anymore. Some food that was supposed to be given to dog. You know, in America, dog have food. Dog have a storage. You can go and buy dog food in Walmart. You can go and buy dog food in Target. But in Sudan, where I come from, where I was kidnapped, I didn't have food as somebody that was a slave. I got to eat something that left over, or garbage cans, just for me to survive. Sometimes for me to have water to drink, I got to struggle to find water. So it's not
but it's amazing. So why don't they? I mean, why don't they give you food? I mean, don't you work better with food?
No, because they don't believe you are human. They don't believe I was human. They have no conscience of seeing me as a human being. They see me as black. Being black, you are not a human for them. And you shouldn't be there in the first place. So when you don't see somebody as a human, you don't treat them as a human. You treat them as a young, or you treat them as animal, you treat them as long as it can produce and work for you. That's what you need. You need him just to do the job for you, but you don't need him to live. That was the case. They don't want us to live, but as long as I can do the job for them, that's what they need me for. But in the meantime, they are not giving me food so I can be able to be a productive slave. You see, because I was also weak in the meantime because I didn't have food enough so I can do my jobs.
Yeah, wow. So, I mean, don't they feel like this boy needs help? He must be suffering. They must have hatred, huh?
Or the big hatred. No, I mean, the hatred again is the black by those Muslim Arabs. There's no comparison to what we see in the West today, or in the United States, or in the United Kingdom, or Europe. There's no comparison the hatred they have for black. These are the people.
Where? Here? In the United States or in South Sudan?
In Sudan, particularly in Sudan. In Sudan, the way they hate black people, there's no comparison to what we have today in the United States.
Yeah.
For people who think that America is bad, that I'm trying to give you example, that where I come from is worse and is better worse, and there's no comparison anywhere you can go. Actually, first, but they don't consider as human being. If somebody cannot consider you as human being, how would you actually explain yourself you are a human being when they don't want it to? Okay? So you cannot compare that. So what I want to say is this, that they are anti-black, they are anti-Africans, and they don't want Africans to live. They want to wipe them out in the planet. They don't want them to live in Sudan. They want to wipe them out totally in the planet. That was the solution, and that was the result they want to see.
So what were you sold for? How much did they sell you for?
You don't know, because you don't know. First of all, we did not know. Let me tell you something. They don't give you the business that take place. The slave is not involved. You don't know who bought you, and you don't know how much they bought you. Nobody knows. Between the master and the kidnapper, so that the one doing the business. And first, you have to understand also, most of us who actually was kidnapped, we didn't know how to speak Arabic too. So we didn't know what it means in Arabic, when you was sold or when you was born. You don't know, because what you know is your own African mother tongue only. You know your mother tongue that you know, but you don't know the Arabic.
So how did the United, right, so tell me, how did your life change when you came to the United States?
My life changed in a big time. First of all, what happened was, when I got to this country, I didn't know America is very much a big country with more than 50 states. I thought America was something called USA, and I did not know what it stands for. And when I got here, I didn't know how to speak English. So I was sponsored by the churches. Virginia Council of Churches brought me over here. And then they accommodated me and my 3 other South Sudanese, and we actually give them apartment. I was the youngest person among them, and we actually very much accommodated. We were welcome. We were actually very much oriented. The course in America, we were very much put in the school to learn English as a second language, ESL. And we start from that step, and we move forward a little by little. Then sooner or later we find a job, and so we can be able to work and be productive and do something, so we can also support ourselves and support our families, people that relative that they may need our help. So that's how in America becomes something that a nation that very much I never witnessed, I never seen before, and because the opportunity that I had as a young boy, I see myself America give me opportunity, give me a chance to see, to become, to be born again, to be someone that I'll be able to speak again and walk again, and realize my own freedom as a human being, and also realize my dignity as a human being. I didn't have it in the country that I was born. I just realized it here. I did not have that kind of freedom that I'll be able to speak and get questions from people that I met across line when I was in America, whether it was through the church or through the outside the church, or in the school or outside the school, or maybe even the job places. I have been very much grateful for American citizens, the way that they accommodate us, the way that they welcome us, the way that they treat us, the way that also they actually include us into the community. We are not just become a South Sudan, become a part of the family, which we never had that before. And these are the things that I'm always grateful for, and I'm thankful for that. And it's a big deal. Still today, thriving and do a lot of stuff, and I still have that kind of harmony among the American citizens.
Right. So what do you think about?
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I was going to ask you, Bull, what do you think about most black people in the United States?
Oh, the most black, you mean the most black people?
No, the people, okay, if you look at Americans who were born here, whose ancestors were taken to the United States as slaves and were freed during the Civil War, after the Civil War, what do you think of these Americans? Do you get along with them? What are they like for you as an African?
Somebody that come from Africa and become a part of the community here in the United States. I become an American, and I become a part of the also Black America community as well. What I see is wrong is that the Black community in America, they didn't get the right guidance from our own leaders, from our own Black community leaders. A lot of them have been used against, they have been used by the Black leaders. The Black leaders are the ones should be blamed, not the Black Americans should be blamed. The Black leaders have to be blamed because they did not set up a role model to them. Most of these Black
Wait, you know something? I don't know. I disagree with you.
I'm going to a point. Because these Black leaders, they preaching hatred among the Black community. They're preaching hatred to the entire America. By the ordinary, the ordinary Black American, a citizen, who's supposed to have somebody telling them how good America is. He's the same person who go to Congress and come back and tell African American or Black America that America is bad, it's not a country you're supposed to be in. So when you have somebody older than you, you got your kid in your house right now. You got your children in the house. If you don't teach them rights, they will become bad kids. We have here in the Black community, we have wrong leaders who are misguiding the African American community, tell them lies for their own interest and for their own benefit. Not the Black community interest, not the United States of America interest, but their own selfish interest only. And that's why you're seeing them, they become so famous and they want to be famous and live famous. And while the Black community being hungry, being mad in the street of Chicago, and the street of Indiana, and the street of Wisconsin, because actually these people, they look up to them, they're the one teaching them hatred, to hate America, to be anti-America, and keep complaining. So you can actually make your point. That's what I see in my observation. But some Black Americans, they want somebody that can teach them how great America is. Let me tell you something here. In my job where I used to work, I work with more 99% African Americans that I work with. Black America, 99%. We work in the same company. When they read when I give them my book and I wrote my book, my Africa Freedom Fighter, I give it to them so they can read it. They learn that they're better off to live in America than living in Africa. They're better off living in China than living in the United States. They're better off because they see the struggle that I come from. There's no comparison the way what they are saying in America today. So I just want to let you know that we, the Black America, have a wrong actors, have a wrong leaders, and these leaders are the ones preach the hatred among the Black community, and these leaders, they need to be confronted by the Black community.
Yeah. Right. So do you have arguments with them? Do they understand you?
Oh, they do.
Do they understand?
Oh, yes, they do. They understand. They understand that I come in a hardship life, that in America, they never lived it. They say, we're America, we are better off, we live in America, we have a better life in America, but because we didn't visit outside. They said, what we see in America, because we never visit outside, we live in America only. We didn't have somebody come with different experience. That's what they're telling me now. So actually, now what we learn is that these people, they never visit anywhere. They never visit China, they never visit Africa, they've been in America and they've been told lies by their leaders who's supposed to be the role model. Our former
but you know something, you know what, I think though that we get the leaders we deserve. We get the leaders we deserve. It's not just the leaders teaching them to hate whites, to hate white America, to hate America. I think that their parents do it too. I mean,
Yes, but
I don't understand. I do not understand. Let me tell you something. When I was a boy, my father was from the South. He had his outlook. I was proud that my grandfather would help Black people. I was proud that he once offered a famous Negro scientist, George Washington Carver, a ride once, in Tuskegee Institute. He said, "Well, you want to ride? You want to come into my car?" And he was famous scientist, George Washington Carver. I was proud of that. I still am. And but my dad was born in the South. His mother was abandoned by her father, and her mother died. And they told us that a Black family took care of them. So I don't know. I mean, what was I a slave owner? My grandmother was helped by Black people. You see, her parents died. She was her father abandoned her. Her mother died. So I don't understand this. See, I was told we have to understand Blacks. Oh, they've suffered so much. There's so much discrimination. Oh, they used to hang Blacks. They would tell them to sit at the back of the bus. There's only one bathroom for whites, one bathroom for Blacks, one water fountain for white people, one water fountain for Black people. You could not eat in the restaurant if you were Black. You couldn't go to the hotel if you were Black. But now, 2020, they say, hey, I have mixed race kids. They should apply as Hispanic because they will get a scholarship. So if you apply as a white person, you don't get a scholarship. Oh, that's crazy. So I don't understand where's the systemic racism? Where the systemic racism against whites? I mean, really, if I go through a red light, a policeman will stop me. I've been stopped before by the police. A Black police officer once stopped me. I committed a violation. White police officers have stopped me. So what's the problem? You know, I mean, where is it? I mean, where is the systemic racism? Do you believe in that? Do you see systemic racism against Blacks? Are they discriminating against you in America?
no, actually, not really. What happened was very much like what I said again. Black community very much they have leaders, from leaders to the families who listen to the leaders. Very much are the one actually should be all accountable for this racism. Because actually all of them who are teaching these young people, very much they have the gain. They have a political gain, or they have a spiritual leadership in the church. They want to gain to be popular in the church leadership. Maybe those are civil rights movement activists who very much somehow they want to be famous and live famous. You see, let me tell you something here. There's a fear within Black community too. There's a fear. There's a fear that if the generation that are young try to speak up, they will be isolated in the community. They will be abandoned by their elderly. They will be abandoned by their mother. They will be abandoned by their grandfather. They will be abandoned by their leader. That's why you see the young Black folks have also been dictated by the elderly people. Okay? They have no freedom in the Black community. If you are Black, young teenager, try to
Here in the United States.
In the United States, yes, in the United States. If you are a Black teenager who went to school, let's say in Liberty University, as a Christian, and you went there and you made your mind to become very much conservative, or you love Jesus, and you come with different view at home, people will isolate you. They will kick you out from the family. You are no longer one of us, because actually you introduced a different culture to us. So now you got teenagers who are afraid. They put their life online, whether do they need to risk their life to support conservative or maybe Trump, or do they need to shut up so they can follow what mom and dad are saying? But in reality, there's a fear within Black community that the young people have been dictated by the elderly. There's something is going on in Africa. The African dictators are the ones dictating African citizens for not seeing the world the way they're supposed to see the world. Because in Africa, the African dictator tells the world that, okay, if we say that we don't want the United States to be a friend of the United States, that's it. That's the bottom line. As a citizen, you don't want to like the United States because we said you don't need to like the United States. We the leaders. There's something in Black community in America. If the elderly say that we don't want you to associate with that party, or don't associate with that man, or don't associate with that white person, that is going to be the solution, and that's why the young Black people have no choices to choose what they want in life. Even though America is supposed to be a nation of the freedom of speech should be allowed, in the Black community, the freedom of speech does not exist. It's still struggling with that kind of dictatorship system mentality of culture of I'm older than you and you are younger than me, you have to listen to me. And that's why you're seeing so much hatred going on in the community. But we know this. I discovered this and I got to this country. I discovered, look, I live with Black community and I associate with them. I work with them. We do a lot together. I'm Black, so I know what I'm talking about. I know what's going on in the community. But I by myself, of course they do. They have to accept me. They listen to me because I have a different opinion. I have a different, but a lot of them also, they also isolate me too because they feel like my ideas, it doesn't fit with them. They need to kick me out from where I'm supposed to be. So I got isolated too in the community. They don't like me because I think differently than them. So now they kick me out and say, no, we don't want you because the way you think. So we have that kind of fight. But I knew that we can overcome by teaching the young to understand the right thing, why America is a good place for them.
Sure. So, you know, so who are you going to vote for? You're a U.S. citizen.
Bill, you got to know my background. Let's go back to my background first. I was kidnapped as a young boy. I would not say I was kidnapped, I was a slave, I was in slavery. If I say kidnapped, it will be a different term. I was a slave with more than 700 and more than million of my citizens. While I'm talking to you, you have 9 million who are a slave today in Africa. So, in that, I know who is slave in Africa today in 21st century. Majority, 99 Muslim Arabian plus they are African Muslim combined to enslave Africans. And these are the issues that brought me to America. So I believe when actually 9/11 occurred, America was under attack in 9/11, I decided to join the Homeland Security as a major for me, to become the first African student to seek the Homeland Security as a major. You should understand what that really means.
Oh, yeah.
It means that I am concerned about the national security of the United States of America. The American national security comes first for me to vote for somebody. And that's why I've been trying to vote Republican based on my belief that America needs to be protected. America is in danger. And we immigrants who come to America, we know the truth about this type of ideology, and we need to protect American citizens. We need to speak to American citizens to vote for a right man. So I will vote for Trump at this time around.
Really? So you'll vote Trump?
Oh, yes.
So, right. Do you think that there's that the U.S. government has to give reparations to Black Americans? What do you think of that?
That's something that I have no clue, and I never studied it, and I don't know what that really means. So I have no topic and I have no answer for that. But if I knew what it means, I would have a little bit beyond that opinion.
Yeah, right. So the people that you have gotten to know, 20 years in the United States is a long time. So you tell them about Africa, you tell them about slavery, you tell them about being persecuted by Islam, do they ever say, hey, Bol Gai, you know, you're right. There's no freedom of speech. I can't express my opinion to my people. They persecute me. They isolate me. They don't talk to me. Do they come to you and tell you these things, American blacks?
You know, they feel so, some of them, they feel sorry, they apologize for what happened to me, and there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do about it. They walk away and they feel sorry. But some, they feel it's okay for me to move on by siding with the same ideology that they believe that America is bad, which I don't believe America is bad. So I disagree with those who think America is a bad place. And that's why my disagreement come with them. When they try to preach me about America is bad, I say, no, America is the great place for me. That's why I'm here.
Yes.
And a lot of them never visit anywhere. They cannot have a good argument to debate with me because they have no skill or maybe experience that, you know, they've been around somewhere to tell me that I was wrong. Some black who converted to Islam, they feel sorry. They cannot do anything about what is going on for me. Sometimes they walk away without silent, without even try to debate or maybe answer me. So some people they feel guilty about this, and there's nothing they can do about it. That's why I didn't get a support. Let me tell you something, a very important point I want to make here. One of my revolutionary leaders who actually died in 2005 in a helicopter crash, I think Jerry know him really well, because John Garang, who was a man that fought the Islam for more than 21 years, the armed struggle in South Sudan. We fought the Arab and the Islam because we believe that Islam does not believe in peace, we believe in war. So
really?
Our citizens, yes, they believe in war, they don't believe in peace. And then the only solution for South Sudanese, they have to form a so-called armed struggle to fight them by gun. And John Garang was the one actually leading this movement, and he died in 2005. He said something very important in the United States, and he said something very important. John Garang was welcomed by the Anglican Christian Americans to speak in different universities in DC. One of the journalists asked him a question and said, why you are not going to meet the Black Caucus, and why you are not meeting the NAACP or maybe the civil rights movement leaders? And you are actually fighting the same thing that brought them to America. What brought African America to America 400 years ago was slavery. And you, Garang, you're fighting slavery. You know what Garang told them?
What?
Dr. John Garang told them, the enemy that I'm fighting will not be understood by the African American. Islam and the Arab is something African American will not understand. Only the African American will understand the white man only. If I was fighting a white man, they will support me. If I am fighting an Arab, because I know I am fighting an Arab Muslim man, the African American will never support me. That's why I'm here. And actually, and that is because the African American do not understand the war of Islam. They do not understand the war of the Arab. Arabian are the one who slave them and sell them to European. Arabian Muslim are the one actually kidnap them from the African villages. Arabian Muslim are the same people who kidnapped me and brought me to America today. Arabian are the same people who actually Muslim who actually very much kidnapping more than 9.2 million Africans today. These are the same people manipulating the black community to have Louis Farrakhan as the leader of Islam. Could you believe this? How they're playing games? The same people now who coming to confuse the African American black, which they saw a long time ago, and they benefit from the slavery. Because not only they kidnap our citizens, they enrich themselves. They become rich based on slavery. the Arab Muslim. And this is something that my leader told me long ago, that the African American will not support your cause, will not support our cause because we are fighting Arab Muslim, and they will not understand that enemy. Simple.
Wow. But you know, a lot of them become Muslim in prison. Many become Muslim and they go to prison.
And they don't know what they are doing.
And they become Muslim. And Islam is like communism. If you want to find, you want to get a believer, find somebody angry, find somebody who wants to blame somebody else, right?
Correct.
So
Islam actually formed the communism. Islam is the foundation of communism.
yeah, because they use anger to achieve. Anger is their tool, right?
Yes.
If you're not angry, you don't throw a rock. If you're not angry, you don't assault someone or destroy something or burn something down. You have to be angry. So they want anger. So Michelle Obama says, you running. We're talking about white people. Because we come into neighborhoods and you run, and you're still running. Yeah, because white people, she says that when black people move into a neighborhood, the white people leave. You know, and she says we're running. I mean, let me ask you a question. Do you feel unsafe in a white neighborhood?
No.
Do you feel unsafe at night in a white neighborhood?
Never.
Do you feel unsafe at night in a black neighborhood?
Black people, the black neighborhood, also black are afraid for themselves.
What's
because,
that?
Yep, they are. Yep, you feel unsafe, correct. I agree. Even black, let me tell you, the black on black crime is a big issue. That's why you're afraid. Even among the black, you're afraid by yourself. So this is the truth, this is the reality. It's not only that we're afraid in the white neighborhood, we're afraid also by ourselves when we're black folks. Because a crime that taken place in Chicago, it was done a crime black against black. It was not just it was white and black. Okay, so yeah, you're absolutely right. The black are afraid also among the blacks, and that's the reality that the leader of the blacks supposed to address. Nobody is addressing this issue. Nobody's talking about it in the black community. Nobody's talking about it in the black churches, and these are supposed to be the role model in the community. They're not talking about this. Yeah. So you're absolutely right on that. Yes, we are afraid, and the black are afraid for themselves. And I don't think that when it comes to a white neighborhood that you walk by or somebody walk by, I don't think there's an issue that's sensitive that you could get killed or something. No, nothing like that. I never heard something like that. And I never been in that situation. So.
Right. So then, have you been robbed by black people?
No.
So you've lived in Richmond, you live in Washington, D.C.?
Correct. Yep.
So, okay. Right, so what do you, I mean, I'll tell you a story. I know a Hispanic woman, a Protestant Christian, and she likes the singing. She likes the singing in black churches. She likes to hear the singing of gospel churches. So one Sunday, she said, I'm going to go to a black church as I like the singing. So she went to the black church. She loved the singing, the music is very beautiful. But she felt moved to say something. She said, the Holy Spirit wants me to say something to the black preacher. So after the service, she says to the black preacher, the American preacher, he says, you know, God wants me to say something to you. What? God wants me to tell you that you hate white people. You don't you? And the black preacher said, we hate white people. And, you know, I wanted to talk with you because not so much interview you, but have a conversation. And Eric Holder and others, Barack Obama's attorney general said, America needs to have a conversation about race. But what I think, Bo, is that if we do have that conversation about race, it has to be two-way. It can't just be we listening to whites, listening to blacks tell us how bad it is. Because when they have a protest and they kneel down during the American anthem, they're doing that because of white police officers that killed a black man that maybe they are trying to arrest. They're not talking about black people killed by black officers. They're starting to. That seems like it's starting to bother them. They're not angry because of black people killed by other blacks. They're killed by those unusual situations where an officer who's white tries to arrest a black person, and then the black person fights. There's a struggle, and he dies. And so that's what they want to talk about all the time. That's what bothers them. But it's not common. If you look at all the homicides among blacks, the number of homicides in which you have a police officer killing an unarmed black man are maybe like 10 a year, maybe 10, maybe less than 10 a year. But the number of blacks who are killed by black criminals, thousands. So what I want to say is I want to give you my perspective. Is I don't see what the problem is. Why are you mad at me? I haven't taken a shot at any black man. I haven't discriminated against the blacks. I mean, so why am I somebody who should pay reparations? Why am I somebody who should say, yes, I'm systemically racist, I'm a white supremacist? Why? I don't believe that. Doesn't make sense. And a lot of Americans, they marry mixed race women, right? Or a lot of white women marry black men. And so what is the problem here? We don't understand it.
Bill, thank you so much for bringing this topic up. I mean, thank you so much for that. You're absolutely right. What you brought up is very important. You got to be in both ways. You got to be in both ways. You got to be, if there's any also discussion, got to be in both ways, not just one side. And I agree with you on that. Let me tell you something that the black community, the anger, the madness that have been learned within the black community in America has been going on for more than 1960. And based on civil rights movement demand and all those leaders and what they preach, why they also the situation that the African American went through here, and other things that actually brought very much. But in reality, if you see the civil rights movement, if you read it carefully and you realize Martin Luther King himself, he didn't do the civil rights movement with the black people. They were also the white was among the black people. The white was divided. So they were white actually joining the march of Martin Luther King so they can get freedom. So we also understand that there were good white who joined the movement of civil rights. It was not only the blacks who brought the freedom of the African American, there were also white folks who actually joined us so we can have, so we should also have the same way in the black community. We should have also good blacks who can tell the truth of the whites. We cannot just stand as white, as blacks and fight the white.
Sure.
We got to have also good black who can actually tell the truth also to say, you know what, we are human beings, we have to respect the humanity, and we also have to love humanity. Regardless what happened, it was not all white did it. It was individuals, it was not the majority of the white, or maybe, why should we hold the white folks accountable who never been there in 1600 years ago, or maybe 1800 years? Why should we hold them accountable now? So I believe the discussion have to be done by the blacks, by taking, not to take the side, and also to fight back and say, you know what, there are good white who joined Martin Luther King to make sure that we are violent. We actually justice. We have to have justice too. We cannot just say, okay, the white folk are bad. You see, when the white man actually kill a black man or black woman, wherever in one of the states in the United States, let's say in Chicago or in Virginia, or whether in Illinois, we should not actually generalize entire white that some white live in West Virginia have nothing to do with that crime took place by the police in Minnesota or Minneapolis. Why should we blame the West Virginia white that they are part of this? Why should we say the white people are bad? No, the individual that done the crime is the only bad person that we should be all accountable.
Of course, yeah.
And I think this is the discussion needs to take place within the Black community, that we cannot generalize everybody in a cause that somebody died in our community. You see, this is the thing that we need to approach, and that now the Black community needs to have a different approach how to address this issue. And we cannot just unite against one tribe and one race and so this race is bad. Even though, yeah, let me tell you, there are great white people that done so much to the Black community. Let me tell you, I by myself, I have discussion every day with the Black community. I have discussion with the young people. I have discussion with the older people. A lot of people that give me a good feedback and say, all the white people are not bad. Not all of them are bad. Not all of them are bad. The people that the bad apple that are bad. By the reason now we are suffering Black Lives Matter and many other things, there were political interests that involved themselves, people who actually want to gain the interest and political gain. That's why they're actually using Black folk for their own gain, for their own political interest. In reality, they don't love Black people. They don't love Black people who actually, those who organize the Black Lives Matter, they don't love Black people at all in the first place. They just do it for a reason, just to make America in a way that we care about Black community. But in reality, no, they don't care about the Black community. And that's what I want to say is this. We are going to address this issue by, they will not tell you the truth. They will not tell the youth, of course, love America. Because why should they do that? Because they will lose their jobs. Because actually they want to keep their jobs. The only way to keep their jobs.
Right.
They lie to Black community so they can keep
them angry. They have to be angry.
Of course. Of course. So they can keep the title. Otherwise, they're not going to keep the title. It's just they're just using the community for their own self-interest. And let me tell you, no one among these leaders love Black community. Nobody. Even those nobody love Black community. All those leaders shout in the street, Black Lives Matter. Nobody love Black community. Why? They don't care about the homeless. Why they don't care about the homeless? They care about the, why they don't care about the Black crime against the Black. They don't care about that. Why they don't talk about what's going on in Chicago? Money.
They're not honest.
Money. And
They're
that's why.
not honest.
Of course, they're not honest. They're not honest, Scott, I agree.
Okay,
they're not honest. And that's why you're seeing them not doing anything when it comes to Black community.
A lot of times, not always, but many times, we like Africans better than Black people from our own country. Not always, but many times. Because we find them, they seem to be more trusting. You can have a friendship with them. They're not so serious. There's not so many issues. You don't have to walk on eggshells. It's like you can talk honestly, openly. Whereas many times with American Blacks, oh, you never know. You can start a fight. You're gonna start. Oh, they'll be angry. They will never want to talk to you again. And I found this also with the Caribbean. From the Caribbean, a lot of times people from the Caribbean or Black, I feel like I can have sometimes an easier friendship with them than with Blacks from America. You know, it's a weird thing, but it's very common. You know, because they're the ones in America, they're taught to be angry and to be hostile and to resent and to think we are owed so much. And nobody wants to have a friendship with people like that. It's hard to have a friendship because they're always going to be distrusting, and you know, that's other thing. You know, I mean, I you know, it's weird for me. Barack Obama, his father was African, right? Okay. when he was a little boy, Barack Obama Sr. went back to Kenya.
Correct.
Right. So his mother was white. His
Correct.
grandparents were white. Who raised Barack Obama? White people.
Correct.
White people. And so what does he do? When he goes to Chicago, he goes to the black neighborhoods and all that. And it seemed like he never really felt comfortable with his white family. His white family did more for him than the black family. But he seemed angry. And you think that you saw America in the time of Bill Clinton? You saw America in the time of George Bush?
Bill Clinton was leaving the office. It was in 1999 when Bill Clinton is leaving the office, and then was coming in Al Gore and then Bush. And then in 2002 was actually, we just turned to a year, Bush had been elected. 2000, actually, it was 2000 basically, when Bush actually was running with Al Gore. And then Bush soon became a president. And then 2001 was 9/11. So, yes, I was actually seeing America after Bill was leaving and Bush was coming in.
Right. So then, have you seen in the past 3 years a good economy or a bad economy in Virginia?
It's good, really good economy. Within, I think Obama time was very difficult. People, they were struggling a lot in Obama administration. Economy was really bad. But actually, after Trump coming along, I think economy became so strong. Everybody had jobs. The black community, everybody owned his own jobs, and job was everywhere. And if you go to McDonald's, Burger King, I mean everywhere. I mean,
everybody had money.
Oh yes. So he very much picked up during the Obama, during actually Trump time, when Trump come along with so many jobs.
Do African Americans ever say, "I like Trump"? Does that happen? Do you see much of that?
Oh, like what I said, is appeared in the community, but African American, of course, yes. Sometimes they don't want to speak in public. At least maybe one-on-one. One-on-one, they understand Trump is a good man. Trump have done a lot to black more than other presidents. Even Obama never done nothing to black people. Obama failed the black community. And Obama is supposed to be black. But he was not actually, he never done nothing. He never done nothing to black community. Obama, he never done anything to Africa, to African nation too. So Obama failed the black community in America. And black community know that. And Obama, so black community that I know so far, they're better off now in Trump administration because they give them jobs. And that's what I know so far. And they talk about it sometimes privately. And a lot of them like Trump. There was an older guy that I met today. Today I met the older guy. So we talk about, there was very much a discussion about masks that have to be wear, and if you don't wear the mask, they have to be put in jail. It was going on in Chicago. And they're intimidating people in Chicago, that if you're mayor of the Chicago was trying to intimidate the people. If you come out without having mask, you have to go to jail. And one of the black men, older guy that I talked to, told me that, you know why they're doing that? I said, I don't know why they're doing that. He said, they're doing that to bully Trump. They feel like they want to do just because they're mad of Trump. That's why they're doing that. In reality, what Trump is doing is right. This the black man is telling me this. He said that we should not surrender to China. We should just live as Americans and move on. And when he said that, I realized he said it privately. But I want to say this, that yes, people in the community now that they know Trump have done more than Obama, let me tell you this, you have to take this very serious. If Obama or Michelle Obama, they were black and they never done nothing, who can do something? And Trump came along to do something greater than Obama and Michelle.
Yeah.
Yesterday, actually, Trump was saying that you guys just is a big talk without action, and that is true. It was a big talk. All that 8 years, it was a big talk more than action. Okay, and let me tell you something here. In 2008, when most Americans voted for Obama, there was so many passion and interest and thought that Obama will bring new change to America and all that. What happened was Obama disappointed black community. Every black congressman, whether NAACP or black churches, every time they try to organize and call Obama, try to meet Obama, Obama used to say, I'm not a black president. I am a United States president. I am an American president. So Obama can meet with the Muslims, but he will never meet with the black community. Obama can invite the Muslims during Ramadan time so they can have a dinner in the White House, but they will never invite the black pastor to go to the White House. Obama can invite the strangers to the White House, but he will never invite black community in the United. And the same black community, 99% vote for him, and he disappointed them. So this is the game that has been played within 8 years, and black people see it all.
Right. What percentage of American blacks will vote for Trump?
It will be many. It will be too many, because this is the first time in the history that a president can have a black vote, maybe 35%, could be even higher than that. That's the first time in the history. Yes.
In Virginia?
In Virginia, all over the United States. A lot of them now, they like Trump more than Biden. But they don't say in the public because they don't want to talk about it. Because you know somebody give you a stimulus check. You know, do you know Trump have signed a stimulus check recently? That is stimulus. So those also motivate the community. They know that they got a stimulus check, even though they got their job, they still receive the money. And that was a good thing. And people are talking about it. So yeah, he done a lot. He done a lot. Let me tell you, he did, and he speak highly about black community in the platform. He mentioned black community where he go. He said, actually, I done more for black and I'm doing more for black. That is a good thing. It's not a bad thing to have a president to the black community. It's a good thing. So I believe the black community know this. They know it. Recently, more black young people have been put in jail since 1980. Now they're coming out during the Trump time. Now they're working now. They come back to their families and they unite with their families. The first time happened. It never happened before. So these are the good things that are going on in the community people are talking about.
Bol Gai Deng, who's running now for president of South Sudan, who wrote Legacy of an African Freedom Fighter, former African slave, somebody who's very happy, living the American dream. It's been great talking to you on Quorum Radio. Hope you do well. Hope we can have a chance to sit with you again, talk. Thanks for your time, and we look forward to further conversation.
Thank you for having me.